To begin with today, before the Trustees' report was taken, there was an overture from the Presbytery of Lewis, which was an attempt to set back the process of presbytery reform by at least a year, to take time to consider the implications of presbytery reform on the Barrier Act. And happily, the Assembly was not for delay. And I think the overall message today is that people realise that the Church is on a trajectory of change. There were some hard pills to swallow, but people realise that I think there's a sense of realism around. But it's not just a sense of realism, it's a sense that behind that realism there's hope. That we can't go on doing things the way we're doing them just now. They're not working in so many places. We've got examples of church life that really are working, and we need to copy them across the country. I think the other thing that was encouraging today was to see that way in advance of the timetable that we'd hoped for, quite a number of presbyteries decided that they were going to get together and create new presbytery bodies that can start to tackle the mission planning that's really required in the future. And the hope is that sooner, much sooner than we ever expected, we'll be down to those 9 presbyteries that will be equipped and resourced to do the mission planning that Scotland really needs. On finance, we agreed a budget whereby we are only asking congregations for enough as will pay the stipends and salaries of those who are paid out of the ministries fund, and the rest of the church's funding for its wider work and central administration will come from £11 million of reserves, which have been allocated this year. And similarly next year, as another way of helping congregations to recover from the financial impact of COVID, we've committed another £5 million to the national budget. So congregations are being asked for less this year. And you know, that's part of an overall package which will give presbyteries the opportunity now to begin to see which congregations, while they might not be self-supporting, are necessary and have to be supported, and look seriously at others which are now, sadly perhaps, no longer a part of the long-term future plan. There'll be a big discussion about that on Tuesday, because we've got to be realistic about the number of ministries that we can realistically afford and realistically expect to be in the system, because so many of our ministers are due to retire. Today we also passed a motion which will allow a Pioneer Mission Fund to be opened up, and the trustees are going to commit at least one of our pretty significant unallocated, unrestricted legacies that came in this year, in order that congregations across the country can experiment with new ways of being church. And that's the future. So I'm excited about that. And also within that, the passing of that motion, we're encouraging congregations, outside bodies, private individuals, to put money into that fund so that we can start to do new things.